with aftershocks of petrol subsidy removal. Any situation to warrant a similar experience would be tested. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, said the federal government is still subsidizing electricity because the current tariff that the distribution companies, DISCOs, are allowed to charge is not cost-reflective. According to the minister, the federal government spent about 700 billion naira in 2023 to subsidize electricity. And if tariffs are left at the current rates, it is projected that the government will spend about 1.7 trillion naira to subsidize electricity, which is unaffordable. Mujid, we are still smart. We are yet to recover from the removal of petroleum subsidy. And this removal of tariff from the electricity will be a big disaster.
I'm happy that the minister, Bayo Adelabu, made that pronouncement in Ibadan Disco yesterday when he visited. Why am I saying this? Ibadan Disco is one of the worst discos. And unfortunately, it has the largest coverage area, servicing, I think, about some parts of Lagos, Ogun, Kwara, Edo, Ekiti, and Oyo states, Ibadan Disco. IBDC, Ibadan Bini Disco. So now he went there, and the disco is already in a retainership. It's been taken over from those who bought it. Now it's owned by the federal government and AMCON, so to say. So now
it has failed.
It has failed. But now they are trying to get it up. So that's why I was not surprised that another disco failed. I think Kaduna Disco, the government has also taken over. But this Ibadan is actually, and the kind of services you need to see, go on their Twitter X handle and see the complaints from customers. It's like they are doing. I expect that the minister should start showing that yes, it means business by getting a proper management in place in Ibadan Disco. Now, to this 700 billion, government has no choice than to continue subsidizing, but then to ensure that, because all over the world, it's either you are subsidizing agriculture or electricity or fuel or education or one thing or the other. But we have seen that our subsidy regime in the energy sector is failing, especially or has failed. But thanks to President Tinubu for removing the subsidy in the petroleum sector, which is benefiting just a few. So they won in the discourse. The discourse, not only Ibadan, they are not injecting more funds into the power distribution. It's as if they are just collecting money. No, it's still into three parts. There is a storage aspect, there is a distribution aspect, there is the generation aspect. So the transmission company of Nigeria, the TCN, transmits from the bulk energy to this discos who distribute to the homes. Now, it is the discos that interfaces with we consumers. And at times you see they are happy to give you estimated billing. The meter they are supposed to give you, they won't want to give you so that they can continue to give you arbitrary fees. So this 700 billion per year, yes, we are, at least consumers are feeling it, because if you actually look at the cost of alternative power, diesel or even gas or even solar, electricity is still far, far cheaper, even at the present rate, although they need to do more. Because what we have now, most areas, I mean, it is even worsening at this during this dry season. The heat is unbearable, and you can see the national grid is collapsing almost on an hourly basis now. So the effect of this subsidy must be felt while consumers should have more hours of uninterrupted electricity. These discos to spend money on the distribution. They need to.
So, do you see us sustaining this? 700 billion naira is not a small money. If that is pumped,
But
in a sector, it's.
Honestly, I don't know how long we can sustain it, but it's something that it cannot go away for now. It is not everything that a government has to subsidize certain things, actually, really. But if you listen to the minister, he also said something. He said, yes, this subsidy is a burden, but it will continue until the power situation is better.
That is it.
Now, I think subsidy is one of the least, it should be the list of our worries in that sector. There are so many problems. Yeah. And sometimes you see this blame game from generation to transmission, from transmission to distribution. Now, the gencos will say, okay, we have generated this. Now, it is not the amount of power generated by genco that is supplied, that is transmitted by the TCN. And then TCN said, look, we have supplied this amount of power. The discos do not even have the capacity. Even their facilities, do they even have facilities that are good enough, that are strong enough to distribute power? Then we still have the problem of gas. Okay. Sometimes it's gas supply. All of these things are there.
I have a caller. Adebayo is calling us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Go ahead, please.
I would like to say that the problem with electricity is the same problem with education, with every other aspect of Nigeria. We are not making progress in that area. That's the investment that is committed in terms of funding to electricity every year.
I can barely hear what Adebayo is saying. So
we need to overhaul that system, the way the whole thing works. Then alternative to what we have now. Yes, it's true. Solar may be more expensive, but if we invest more, if we invest more, governments invest more in solar and other alternative forms of power supply, we may be able to reduce the pressure on what we have, the system we have currently. But removal of subsidy, electricity subsidy, no, it's a no.
We have a situation whereby the people that actually purchase these government facilities, they don't have the capacity to fund it. And even they've been taking out, it's on record that they've been getting bailouts from the government.
Yeah.
So how are we going to continue this marriage?
I urge the minister to carry out an audit of how much each of these discos have invested aimed at improving the infrastructure they meant on ground. Because it's as if they are clueless. Between November 1 and ending of November, there was crisis. People could not, even if you buy, for those who have the prepaid meters, if you buy the token, you couldn't load. Some people were out of, there was power outage in so many homes for up to a week. They were clueless because they did not invest in infrastructure upgrade. It shouldn't be this difficult. And that's just a small technical glitch. And they were pre-warned that by so time, these meters would expire, you will need to upgrade them. If you send a code to whatever thing they said we should register with your NIN, we did the registration, we did everything, yet nothing happened. So many people it's not as if you don't have the money, but you can't even activate the token you have bought to give you energy. And it's a failure of the kind of infrastructure they were deploying. Some of them have just been cashing out without actually putting back. That's why the fact that government is assisting them, giving them several bailouts. Although there's also some federal government institutions, several corporate organizations that are owing them. But that is not an excuse. If anybody is owing you, you call the person off your grid.
Okay, I have Ojo calling from Majibo.
Yeah, good day.
All right, go ahead, please.
Please, it's unfortunate that the Honorable Minister is making that submission. It is the public that is subsidizing government. The community will buy transformer for you to be connected to power. We ask the electricity company. They'll be asking 5 million, 4 million, 6 million. Then it is the community that will buy poles. It is the community that will erect the poles. Every material that they need, it is the community that will provide. And at the end of the day, they will still pay. So where is the subsidy? I don't think I will agree with the Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Because that's the reality on ground.
In fact,
if you are staying in a new site now and everything, it is the community that will come together. How it will provide transport.
You know, I find it very sorely upsetting.
Do you have any problem?
I find it so sorely upsetting that these discos, they still behave like the old NEPA, like PHCN.
No, nothing else.
And the reason you had that unbundling was to foster some effectiveness in the system.
To run it
the same thing.
professionally.
You have to buy your transformer. You have to buy your cables. Why? It's like saying that a telecoms provider you need to buy the mast that they have to come and install in your area. I mean, they are private companies. They're supposed to be very viable, but they are not. So the last thing to be talking about is subsidy. We don't even want to hear about that. Let us bring some efficiency into the system. Like MJ said, there has to be an audit. Now, you're talking about moribund and comatose distribution companies that government is taking over. It's terrible. So let them put that sector in order. Because see, Ayo, we need to be very serious with power generation. There can be no meaningful economic growth without tackling power. This has been part of what has hobbled Nigeria's growth economically. Even though we make some progress, but sometimes it looks like we take one step forward and two backwards. Let's fix this power problem. We've been talking about it for long, since the days of NEPA, PHCN. Now we have discos, the PE-POPs, or what you call them, and then we still have the same problem. So let them go and put their house in order first, before they start talking about removing a subsidy or something.
Now, we cannot, the agreement, the contract that was signed with this company is so stringent, we cannot just opt out. So this is a catch-22 situation. How do we help?
No, really, why I raise the issue of the audit is the fact that I think there is a time frame, I don't know now whether it's 5 years or 7 years, for it to be reviewed. And that's why Ibadan Disco and I think Kaduna Disco and one other disco, I've forgotten now, they had the contract revoked. So I think government should engage the PSC, the audit, internationally reputed audit firms, the Pricewaterhouse of this world, to embark on an audit of all these discos. So that they can't just be taking Nigerians for granted. Yes, we have some issues with TCN, but see, some of them are still using the switch gears they inherited from ECN, not even NEPA. Electricity. And these are switch gears that you need these switch gears to ensure that there's a load balancing, there is proper storage of the. So that now, if your transformer breaks down, like the person that called said, if your transformer breaks down today, the transformer that you bought, if it breaks down, you will be the one to pay for it to be fixed. And after fixing it, they will tell you it has become one disco's property or the other.